if you have a purpose in life, you are more willing to engage in whatever activity you have to do, even if it's an unpleasant activity like changing diapers, cleaning up throw up.
Ew.
Really? Why did I go into teaching? And so I said, well,
it was a very good answer.
You know, I listened to JFK, I was a little kid, and so I said, yes, I will be a teacher. I will influence future generations. That was my motivation, that was my goal. Obviously, it's not the goal anymore. It's a numbers game. And that's what, especially for old people like me, that's really terrible because, you know, our goal was to encourage lifelong learning and telling kids that you better, you better do well on these tests. And it is not encouraging lifelong learners.
If I could go around this floor and ask everyone, why are you here? And they give us an answer, a similar answer, it actually jives with our strategy, then I'll say, wow, we've achieved something. We're absolutely not there.
The majority of them are actually there because they want to learn, you know, which is much different, I'm sure, than you see in English.
Right, you have to take English, you don't have to take tech.
Right. So I have a lot of kids in band and music tech that genuinely want to learn and want the purpose, right, to learn or whatever, you know, how to use the technology or music or whatever, because they think it's cool, because, you know, they have their own motivation. Now, internal motivation, external motivation, that's the battle, you know, that I think a lot of people face, because once there's two bands at Barnstable High School. There's the non-audition band and then the audition band. The audition band is just kids that, you know, take the extra step to do whatever they need to do to accomplish higher goals. Do you think that, you know, my colleague is chasing him around with, you know, practice cards?
I think the problem is that it's easy to quantify external motivation.
Like operating income, return on equity, revenue, those are easier to give an update on, right? But yeah, these are the things, these are the clients and the hopeful clients that we're bringing in, which are going to help to drive our revenue and our bottom line and our stock price, and those are easier, frankly. It's these amorphous type of things that we constantly are working on it's more difficult to communicate that. It's more difficult to get outcomes from that are easy to point.
You know, it's easy. You know, you put like, you know, you put a grade or a number or some sort of reward, carrot and a stick on this, and you have this external motivation of somebody pushing this person, the student, whatever, in a certain direction. It's easy to quantify. You got 10 out of 20 students to meet said goal. You got, you know, then another 5 out of the, you know, met this goal, whatever, right? So you meet these thresholds and these numbers, and it looks really good, and you can come up with great charts and Excel spreadsheets, and it's awesome, and administrators can go throw around data, and Board of Ed can throw around data and get reelected to their positions, and they get egos, and it's boom. But the internal motivation
is not quantifiable.
And
that's the important part. That's a business model. And they're trying to take a business model and put it into an educational model. And it doesn't work. It's like taking a round peg and putting it into a square hole. And I don't care how many times you try to hammer that goddamn round peg into that, it's not going to fit. So there you go. And that's all I have to say. So I really did start out with the idea that this was a noble profession. I still think it's a noble profession. I just think things are getting twisted. But maybe that's because I'm old. Businesses thrive on numbers, right? Right? Isn't everything about numbers? You know, you gotta make the bottom line. You gotta, right? You gotta make a profit, correct? If you don't make a profit, you're gonna go out of business, right? Okay, so in education, sometimes your business, sometimes your product doesn't show success until they're, 3 years later.
And look, and there are some people who just do it for the paycheck. But you know what? Those are people who are probably just going to punch it in.
Well, another thing also is people don't necessarily want to be bosses. Not everybody wants to be a boss. Some people want to just work and go home.
Right.
And that's okay. And some people want to be carpenters, and that's okay. And we want everybody to go to college, and that's not necessarily what they either should or could or want to
Yeah.
do.